Hello and welcome to the Sage of Tarn Alpha version 0.493, August 2022. So to follow up on last time, we had the basic menu system working, and I wanted to work on deleting and, saving the game, basically, hence why you see this option right here. However, I ran into a little bit of an issue with that, is that basically I don't know what to save, because we don't have the stats, the inventory, and the menus all sorted out yet. So that sort of thing kind of needed to come first, hence the reason why this update is mostly focused around setting up the menu with everything that we have that can go into it. So let's just get into that. Obviously we have the main menu here. It's not finished, but we have the delete save game option, because we inside the game have an option to save the game. This one doesn't contain too much. These don't really contain anything, unless this works. No, it doesn't work in here. Let's just return to that. So this is basically just to make sure that I can clear the test save that I have, because I have an option for it. Anyways, let's go into the game. So as you can see, most things are still the same. But if we go in here, we now have like a small in-game menu that can sort of scale up. Inventory is not in yet. We have the option to save the game here and then return to the main menu in order to delete the game. This is just very preliminary, not saving anything particularly. I've moved the sea surface and unit count, as you can see up in the top, up squeezed a little bit, because we're going to go into the options. We don't have window size, but we can start by the test UI, which I just made today. Obviously stolen from somewhere else, or inspired by, if you will. You can see the black squares in the bottom left corner is indication of the D-pad controls for what we're going to go into in just a moment. We have the 3 bars, HP, stamina, and mana, whatever we want to call it. These are just visuals right now to represent it. I have chosen to add the extra bars in between, so that you can sort of gauge much more easily what it is. And then we have a gray one up in the top right corner. This is intended to be the world instability meter, which is a complex thing that is... I don't have it yet, but the idea with it is that once we are playing versus another player, we want to make sure that we know how much packet loss we have. And I want to turn that into a meter, if I can, so that you will see it fluctuate constantly. And when it spikes and fluctuates really a lot, that's when it's bad, ideally. So that it gives the player sort of an indication of how bad the lag is. Not sure if it's even doable to make, but I would like to add it. Potentially it could also be a poise meter if we get rid of that, but I don't really feel like that's going to be needed. So let's remove this again. Let's go over the controls. These are basically the basic gist. I kind of wanted to... I went a little bit off script, I see, because usually I talk with the additions and the design, but we're just going to go with it, whatever. So here you see the basic control scheme. This is obviously representing a PS4 DualShock controller. Obviously the two... Yeah, and I'm not sure if I can even point it out, but you can sort of... If you can read it with the very wonky text that I managed to make, we have obviously the camera movement on this one. Obviously normal movement here. We can toggle on any of the D-pads. Spell toggle, item toggle on the top and bottom, and the left hand and right hand on the other two. These are intended to only have 2 slots each, so that you click it once, you switch between. This is to prevent the cycling that happens in... If you take something like Dark Souls, for example, you cycle through items or spells. I'm personally not a big fan of that. I want it to be much crisper and smoother, so we're going to give you options to change it in different ways. Similarly, you use the spell and use item for triangle and square, and dodge and interact is obviously, if we go out of the menu, dodge here, as you've seen for the entirety of the time, basically, as well as interact is just basically, whenever you want to do something. You then have the menu, which I'm obviously using here. Gestures are not in just yet. Throw, we can show. This is basically what this thing is. It's very preliminary, of course. The roll is not the character rolling, but it's basically the intention with the projectile combat system is that you have a throw option and a roll it along the ground option. Not quite sure how to expand on these just because it's still just the design basics. We obviously have the grab. This is also intended to be the block, ideally with the directional you know, whichever direction you're pointing in with the left stick. So it won't fit with the camera. These two will be independent. This is also intended to work while you are dashing, so you can sort of dash this way while blocking the other way, but it does become a little bit strange, so I'll have to test if it works, if it's too unintuitive to use. And then we have the parry and return, which is subject to change for now. I haven't really thought about how that should work, but the idea would be that if they fire a projectile at you and if you time it correctly, you send it back towards them. So these are these two are basically the display of the design choices, things that are not in the game just yet, but things I've been working on as I'm going. Anyways, let's head into the debug features, which is by far where we have the most for this update. So all of the color changes have been moved into here. We can choose a color for the player separately. We can choose a color for the background layer separately. This works for each, of course. We can control it. We can also do it a little bit for every layer if we want to. We can turn the cave shader on and off. It does stick over the menu, which is not intended, but hey, what can you do? Then we have the, you know what, let me redo that a little bit. Let's, obviously the first two layers, because they're so dark, can be really, really difficult to change, so you can't really see anything on them. Let's put there, and then turn this to a somewhat blue. It's very dark right now. Oh, didn't make it much better. Again, it's still random, so there could still be some more control sliders or otherwise, of course. Let's try and do all of them, see if we can just get a good one. Oh, that seems decent. Red with some purpley background. Why not? I'll change it a little bit again. Let's just pick... can we get a good one? This one is decent. Return back. Let's go into unit modification. So this controls the size. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. Hold down and then click, I think. Oh, no. Oh, come on. It's just not working. Pretty sure it should. Oh, wait. There we go. I just had to remember. It's like hold one of the D-pads down and then squeeze it, because I didn't make a toggle version for it. Kind of forgot. Whoopsie daisies. Anyway, so you can obviously scale them up. This is working the same way as it did before. And down again, of course. It's mostly for debug. Obviously, we can also use it still for the debug version if we need to. We just need to return if we want to get out of it. Debug features, unit control. You can also choose the collision size, same principle. We just squeeze them up and down, sort of fit it roughly to the circle. Feet width and height. Basically, all the features that I already had in the game have now been removed off of the random hidden keys on the keyboard, so that I can also remember all of them, and then shoved in here so that I can control it much easier. And we can sort of make the unit on the fly, which is a nice little extra thing. We obviously had the testing here where we just spawn the server or the client, if you remember that from a few while ago, as well as restart with new seed. This is basically a full restart. It doesn't save anything at all. And what it does is just that it rechanges the ground. So if you notice the ground, how it looks right here under the city. We can go in here again, debug features, restart. Now it's different. This is a nice little thing of making it sort of... You can still remember where you need to go in the map, but you can also make it a little bit different every time. It changes it. I don't know. Should be good. Could still work a little bit better with the background and foreground I see, but it's difficult to fix that, to be honest. Anyways, what else do we have? Go to debug features. Pretty sure that is roughly it, actually. But yeah, that's the basic thing. I did find one new bug, which is... I think it's not new. If I stack these guys on top of each other, if I stack a buttload of them, I'm not gonna do it. It's gonna crash the game, and I need to figure out why that is. We obviously have various smaller adjustments to the menu. As you can see, there's no background on this one. And that's basically per design. Because I needed it to... Because I started adding a buttload of extra options, you know. I needed some options to not... It was basically this one was causing the issue. You know, imagine it having the square behind it. I'm not even sure I actually need that, because it's kind of nice to have the extra extra view in between. This does look a little bit too programmer art like, I suppose, but yeah. But that's the basic gist for this time around. I've been working on it on and off because I've been working on the house as well, and managing both has been a little bit of a, you know, I'd like to say it's easier than it is, but it is not. Focus has been split, sort of, if you will. But this is also why you get this today. We're not dead in the water. There's still some small things happening, even though it's a little bit of a half a year between each. I'm well aware. I'm going to try and focus a little bit on it. However, do not expect one for the next month, because I'm going to try and focus on making the room that I've been working on, like, see if I can finish it before it gets too cold. Considering the world state at the moment, and, you know, winter not looking too hot, basically, to say it precisely, I think it might be a good idea to, you know, get into the house. So that's the basic gist for this time around. I hope you will stick around with my slow working, but yeah, let's finish off with doing a little bit of this. It's very nice, by the way, having all of these things compacted in here. I do want more control over this, but just being able to like control it from in here is quite nice. So we can find go. Oh, ah, shit! That was. I like the one just before. Maybe I can show it off here. Like, I need to change the foreground as well. I'm click spamming the. I don't know if you can hear it. You can see the dark spikes down here. There's nothing happening. They're completely black anyway, so it's like you can't change the color. We can do it slightly on this one, as well as on this one, and on this one, and on that one, and on this one. But I think it would be good for me to make all of them more bright, and then just control it through the lighting. Potentially making them pure white, each and every one of them, and then giving them specific colors depending on where we are. There's a lot of options with this that would allow me to really control the lighting by just how much light is on each, like how bright they are. As you can see right now, it's sort of like much darker than it is if we restart, for example. Then it looks like it's much brighter down here, but in reality, it isn't. They're the same brightness. It's just one of them has a more dark color than the other one. So, but yeah, before I prattle on too much, I'm gonna just end it here, and you know, we can exit the main menu. Why not? And that's the basic. That's the basics. I can say it. Is there anything I have forgotten? Let me just go over the thing. Yeah, menu size and brightness and stuff like that doesn't work just yet. I think I took out the brightness to put in the UI. But that is also some of the things that I'm going to work on as the next thing. So we can rescale and go to full screen and stuff like that. Because it's kind of good for testing. But yeah. Anyways, thank you for joining. And I hope to see you again sometime in the future. Again, with a little bit of irregularity. Anyways, cheers before the next song goes.